Hello guys, welcome back to another video of Science and Social Hub. Today what we're gonna see is about crafts and industries. So let's get started. India was conquered by foreigners many times, but the British conquest of India was different from previous conquerors in several ways. The previous invaders did not try to overhaul or reconstruct the traditional economic structure of India. General economy always remained the same, but the British destroyed the traditional structure of Indian economy. They exploited it in two ways. First, by taking away raw materials to England, and second, by selling the finished products in the Indian market. The objective of British policies in India was to serve the needs and interests of British capitalism. Fulfilling these objectives, the British rulers converted India into an economic colony of Britain. Decline of Indian textiles. India has been famous for its crafts, cottage industry, and fine quality of cotton and silk textiles from the earliest times. It was the largest producer of cotton textiles in the world, but this industry was most badly affected under the British rule and their policies. There were many reasons for this. After the Industrial Revolution, the British cotton mills started productions in large quantities. The popularity of Indian textiles worried the wool and silk textile makers in England. They began protesting against the import of India clothes. As a result, the British government enacted a legislation in 1720. This act was known as the Calico Act, which banned the use of printed cotton textiles imported from India in England. 70 to 80% duties were imposed on Indian silk and cotton textiles going to Britain, which destroyed these industries, whereas British machine made goods were imported into India at a normal duty. Competition with Indian textiles led to technological inventions in England. The invention of spinning jenny by John Cave in 1964 increased the productivity of clothes. Machine made goods were cheaper than handmade goods. Therefore, handmade goods could not compete with them for long. In 1786, Richard Arkwright invented steam engine. The invention of steam engine revolutionized cotton textile industry. The cloth could now be woven into large quantities and at much lesser cost. By the 1830s, British cotton cloth flooded Indian markets. In the next 50 years, the situation was that two-thirds of all the cotton clothes worn by Indians were produced in Britain. This affected not only weavers but also spinners. Thousands of rural women who made a living by spinning thread were rendered jobless. Native states and the rulers had been the traditional patrons of these handicrafts, but with the establishment of British rule and the annexation of the native states and British Empire, their patronage to the Indian handicrafts automatically came to an end. As a result, the traditional Indian centers of cotton weaving and manufacturing like Dhaka, Surat, Murshidabad, Varanasi, Agra, and Multan were now totally ruined. The objective of British policies was to use Indian economy for fulfilling the needs and the interests of British capitalism. Therefore, the British took away from India raw materials to feed their industries in Britain. The same ships that carried these raw materials to England came back loaded with goods which were manufactured there. Export trade was in the hands of English companies. The British policies forced a large number of craftsmen and artisans to give up their hereditary occupations. They were forced to work as agricultural laborers so that they could earn a square meal. This put more pressure on the already overburdened agriculture. In such a situation, some of them went out of the country to work in plantations in Africa and South America. Ruin of iron industry. The sword of Tipu Sultan has been very famous in India's history. The main reason for Tipu's sword being so special was that the edge of the sword was so hard and sharp that it could easily rip through the opponent's armor. This quality of the sword was because of a special type of high carbon steel called woods. The swords made of the wood steel had a very sharp edge. The word woods is known as anglicized version of the Kannada word ukku, Telugu hukku, Tamil and Malayalam uruku, all meaning steel. Wood steel is produced all over South India. Francis Buchanan, who toured Mysore in 1800, has mentioned as to how wood steel was produced in hundreds of smelting furnaces of Mysore. The smelters produced steel ingots that were used for making swords in West and Central Asia and India. Indian wood steel fascinated European scientists very much. Michael Faraday, the world famous scientist and discoverer of electricity and electromagnetism, studied the properties of Indian wood steel. But the wood steel making progress, which was so popular in South India, was somehow completely lost by the mid 19th century. Its reason was that with the conquest of India by the British and the defeat of Indian Nawabs and Rajas, the sword and armor making industry of India died. The ruin of furnaces. Production of wood steel required a highly specialized technique of refining iron. Iron smelting in India was extremely common till the end of the 19th century. In almost every district of Bihar and central India, in particular, there were smelters who used local iron ore to produce iron. With this iron, tools of daily use and other items were made. Most of the furnaces were built of clay and sun-dried bricks. Smelting was done by men, while women worked the bellows. They continuously pumped air with bellows to the charcoal burning. However, by the end of the 19th century, the craft of iron smelting had started declining. In most villages, furnaces fell into disuse and the amount of iron produced came down. Development of modern industries. In the latter half of the 19th century, large scale machine based industries being established in India. Though the British did it in their own interest, it indirectly helped India modernize. India came into close contact with industrialists. It was essential for the British to bring into India some of the finest fruits of the Industrial Revolution for their own interest. The railways were the best example of this. The construction and development of railways played a very important role in taking the Indian economy from the old to new. Though the British machine made cloth flooded Indian markets, they also opened up the possibilities of establishing cotton mills in India. Establishment of various industries by the British showed the seeds of industrialization in India. To tap the mineral resources of India, machines made in England were installed here. With this, machine age dawned in India. On the grave of ancient indigenous industry, a new industrial setup was built in India. A number of iron and steel mills were established. Tata Iron and Steel Company was established in Jamshedpur in 1907. TISCO was set up at an opportune time. All through the latter half of 19th century, India had been importing steel that was manufactured in Britain. When TISCO was set up, the situation was changing. The First World War broke out in 1914. Britain's steel production now had to meet steel's demand for war purposes in Europe. Thus, imports of British steel into India declined drastically. In this situation, the Indian railways had to depend on TISCO for supply of rails. Jute mills were established in West Bengal. Paper industry was set up at a number of places. Mysore paper mill was an important paper mill. Modern sugar mills were set up in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Coal industry was mainly established in the coal belts of Bihar, Orissa and Bengal. National Aluminium Company, the biggest aluminium companies of the country, were established during this period. It is important to point out here that Indian industrial expansion took place during the First World War only when imports from Britain declined and the market for Indian goods increased. With the growth of industries, The industrial class became more capable and it demanded protection for its products. Under compulsion of circumstances, the British government had no other option but to concede to the demands. Conclusion. That's it for today's video, guys. Hope you all like the video. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. See you later. Bye bye.